And my name is Moshe Binyamin, and I'm the Director of Product Management responsible for Autotask Workplace Product Direction. Some of you may know the product by its former name, Sooner. Before we get to the agenda, however, I believe it is important that we talk about the relevance of file sync and share technology to the MSP toolset, and how does it relate to the work you do every day, and by extension to the services you provide to your organizations. So if you think about your work today, you probably are using a PSA tool like Autotask, but there can be others as well, of course, and that allows you to automate your business and provide professional communication to your customers. Most often, that tool is complemented with an RMM technology. Autotask obviously offers one, which is Autotask Endpoint Management, and it allows you to scale your business and manage your clients' endpoints. In other words, what you do every day is you provide business continuity for your customers, and therefore they depend on you for that continuity. If we really assess that the IT tech stack that you're managing, there's one major aspect that you're not covering today, and most likely it's going unmanaged and possibly at risk, which is business documents. Thinking about it practically, you can provide the best service possible, you can manage the devices, but there's no recourse in the case of a lost laptop or an employee that walks away with critical business documents. That's really where FSS is gaining traction. That's where FSS is becoming mission critical, and there's also an opportunity in that context for managed service providers to take this type of practice and manage in a more professional manner. With that in mind, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the focus areas for Autotask Workplace or FSS technology as we see it. Then we talk about the enhancements that were made since January of 2016 in that context. Then we'll talk about what are the elevated engineering priorities that we've been working on and we've been actually making great strides for, and we will see most of them in the remaining of 2016. Then we'll talk to you about our great partner program and what can you do to be part of this exciting offering. And then obviously we'll try to leave as much time as we can for questions and answers. So with that, let's talk about Autotask Workplace product focus. If we look at Autotask Workplace, there are really four major pillars of functionality, capability, but most frankly, value. And first and foremost is security, control, and availability. It's true that today, with the availability of consumer-grade FSS tools, sharing has become all too easy, all too, ready and relevant. And in that sense, when things have become too easy, they can also pose risks of sharing content or sharing it with individuals that may not necessarily need to see the information. So this is really a major concern that organizations are facing today. The second one is accessibility and usability. With the introduction of consumer tools, there's a heavy emphasis on usability. Most of the organizations that you interact with obviously have low threshold for complex applications, and therefore usability is a critical aspect. Same is true for accessibility. Regardless of where your customer is, whether they are at a kiosk, they are on the road, on their phone, or a laptop, they expect and demand to be able to conduct work. And therefore, accessibility from anywhere is an expectation. It's not a luxury. The third pillar that your customers expect from their work environment is effective collaboration with their colleagues. Today, offices are most often virtual. They're not necessarily brick and mortar as they used to be, but at the same time, with the availability and advent of the internet and connected devices, they expect to collaborate on everything they do, including business documents, with their colleagues. The one that we see as a differentiator for us going forward is the work that we need to do, and we have been doing since the acquisition, to invest in tools that allows this FSS offering, Autotask Workplace, to be specifically tailored for IT service providers and managed service providers. And I'll explain on that in later slides. So what I'd like to do at this point, really go ahead and explain each one of these dimensions and how we believe we're delivering these capabilities uniquely within the Autotask Workplace offering. So let's start with security, control, and availability. So the very first thing that you will see is that we have geo-redundant servers throughout the world that ensure highest uptime availability. That is really how we are able to achieve 99.97 historical uptime for Autotask Workplace. We're also SOC 2 compliant, which obviously indicates the level of seriousness that we imply when we provide access to the product, the procedures for hiring and firing individuals working with this service, and the level of security that we basically employ to make sure that the data that is hosted on those servers is secure and reliable and available. The second thing that this aspect includes is the level of security profiles and policies that we extend to you, the managed service provider or the administrator of the service, and how you can implement security that provides the appropriate level of access to individuals that need to work with the data. That's really where granular sharing options turns a general purpose file sync and share tool to a business grade. Next one is about capabilities that you will mostly find in businesses as opposed to individuals working in consumer tools, such as Active Directory and single sign-on support, and any tool that needs to operate in a business environment is expected to have these capabilities, and we're no exception. Finally, as offices become virtual, it is important and imperative that access to classified information or sensitive information needs to be managed in a virtual world. That means the ability to implement IP whitelisting, device approval, mobile device management, and remote wipes are things that today you have to have. This is not a nice-to-have capability, but this is a must-have capability in order to ensure that the data that you're sharing is shared with the people that are intended to see them. Last but not least, where at the end of the day, we're working with technology that often fails, and we as humans also make mistakes, and therefore built-in backup of files and version control and ability to revert back to previous versions is part of business continuity. It's part of security control and availability of business. Those are the functionalities that we believe you have to have in the product and continue to invest in them in order to build a business-grade, secure data sharing environment. Once we are able to secure the data and provide continuity around the data, the second question that comes naturally is what is the accessibility and usability of the application or the environment with which you're sharing this data, and that's really what we are calling accessibility and usability dimension. The first and foremost here is that the application has to be easy to learn and easy to use. The organizations that you often work with are not necessarily technology savvy as you are, and therefore the tools that they have to interact with, unlike RMM and PSA, have to be less complex in their user interface. They have to be easy to learn and easy to use. Otherwise, the tool will not be used, and alternative ways will be developed to access the data, and therefore, obviously, circumventing any kind of security that you are intending to implement. Obviously, as with any tool that becomes robust, there will be some dimensions that will need additional training. And what we're going to be doing on this set and have been doing is that that training or that overhead for administrator, whether it is for you, the MSP, or it is for administrators as part of the organization, it will need to be minimal. One of the ways that a tool becomes effective, easy, and robust is when the code for that device is native. Meaning that if we are working in a desktop environment, the code that interacts with the desktop is native to the desktop. If you're using third-party overlays and Java technology, for example, you now have added an additional layer of complexity that obviously carries its own vulnerabilities and its own overhead to be managed. That is why we are really have invested in desktop agents for the Mac as well as the Windows, the web interface, as well as the iOS and Android native applications. Going along with the native clients, we also have to provide additional technology to provide that usability and accessibility. So it's not enough that we provide access to the file. We also have to secure the file by integrating a viewer within the web or the mobile environment. That guarantees that the value of the file is fully realized without ever leaving the vault, whether it's the web or the mobile device. So now that we were able to secure the document and provide easy access, the last question is about collaboration. How can users collaborate with each other, and what are the technologies that facilitate collaboration? And that's another dimension that we have taken as an area of focus for the product, and we'll be investing in that category as well. So collaboration, first and foremost, start with a very robust and reliable sync agent. That is the essence or the lowest level component of an FSS technology, and that technology has to be robust, reliable, and market tested to be considered business grade. I'm proud to say that after speaking numerous times with our engineering team in Denmark, who's been working on this for close to a decade, I'm very comfortable and very proud to say that our sync agent, and again, based on feedback from customer, is one of the most robust and reliable in the marketplace. In addition to sharing, the ability to quickly share a document or content, or a full folder rather, with a team or a third party needs to be secure, but at the same time easy and straightforward. And I have to say that we answer and we provide an affirmative to do both of these points. One is that by simply dropping a folder into a specific environment that you're already shared with the team, it is automatically propagated with the rest of the team with no additional action needed. And that's really the level of sharing that we're talking about. Simple action that automatically drives benefit. Secure sharing is all about when you share with third parties. How can you guarantee that that document is shared in a manner that is still in control? So, for example, when you make an attachment to an email, once you click send, it's no longer in your control. Using an FSS technology or Autotask Workplace, you can actually put a link inside your email, and you have full control over the destination. That means you can apply a password, you can expire the link, you can require that the link can only be opened once or twice, and then it will no longer be valid. So while sharing, you still have the level of control that you would require to deliver the document safely and securely. Sharing is obviously the first part of actually interacting and collaborating. Multi-user editing and smart locking is a critical component of that. We do have capabilities, as many of other FSS tools have, to work in an Office 365 simultaneous editing environment, but more and more we're hearing that editing needs to happen in an offline mode, meaning if you're on the road, if you're on the tablet, or if you're on a mobile device, you still need sharing, and you need to be able to do it on a plane, and a kiosk, or in the office, and it needs to facilitate for that. It needs to let everybody else know that you're working on this document, and that's really what we see, how we see and how we understand multi-user editing and environment. There's a more growing trend, obviously, that when you're collaborating with other users, that in addition to changing the content itself, you need to be able to communicate through commenting and automatic notifications of these comments of what was changed, who's working on the document, or any additional custom information you would like to share with the rest of the team. And that's where document commenting helps with collaboration. The last part is something that we are very proud of, obviously, and it is the robust ability that we have on mobile clients, both on the Android as well as on the iOS devices, which is ability to offline to perform annotations on PDFs, as well as open Office documents and then make edits on them. We will always stop short of saying that we have full Office capability on the mobile device, because that is not really what this is for, but it's definitely for making just the necessary edits and then basically saving the document back so everybody else can see them. So that's really what we think about collaboration. But the next part is really understanding the markets that we serve and understanding the unique needs of that market. And for us, it is obviously the IT service provider and managed service providers, meaning our partners, our resellers, that will be delivering the service to their customers. So one thing that we say, and we've said it publicly, is that we are a partner-only go-to-market strategy for Autotask Workplace that is complemented with a very robust partner program, of which you will see some of the highlights today from Caroline. The roadmap of the product will be focused and influenced around the small to medium business market needs. Obviously, that information is going to be in collaboration with our partners, which are the ITSP and MSP organizations that are telling us about the unique needs of their customers. We also have invested and built a dedicated partner portal, which is the AWP Manager, that is uniquely designed for the needs of the managed service providers, and I'll talk about what those capabilities are. But it really revolves around the management and administration of the service and continuous investment in those capabilities, in addition to building a world-class file sync and share technology. Additional things we're doing, obviously, we're understanding the ITSP and MSP environment, which often includes a PSA technology as well as an RMM technology. So because we have a PSA technology, we've already invested in integrating with Autotask PSA, and again, it comes built in with the product. It's optional. Those of you that use a different PSA obviously have the option to use it or not. We're also happy to say that, to inform you right now, that we are in progress to work to RMM enable the agents, to allow for agent installation, authentication, configuration, and of course monitoring as well. So that's really how we see us uniquely positioned to understand the unique needs of the ITSP MSP market and respond to that market by investing in the areas that matters to them. So when you apply these specific principles, which is around security, access, collaboration, you see that those are the types of capabilities that if you're serving customers in the construction, healthcare, legal, education, finance, or marketing and advertising, all of them will depend on you to provide that level of business continuity and protect them, quite frankly, often from themselves. In terms of sharing documents or content in an unintended manner, or what happens when they lose a laptop, or they lose a phone, or an employee leaves with sensitive information on their phone, because most organizations today have a BYOD, or bring your own device policy. And in that situation, you expect your employees to conduct work while on the go or while on the phone, but at the same time, you expect a level of protection or security when that device is lost or leaves the organization. That is exactly how we think about Autotask Workplace, and we think about it in the context of the customers that they'll be interacting with you and type of capabilities they'll be demanding from you. So in conclusion, for how we understand the market, FSS is a mission-critical service and directly impacts business continuity for your customers. FSS, in our opinion, is considered business-grade when it can demonstrate robust security options, mature user interface, and rich collaboration capabilities to allow for the business to continue regardless of location. With that said, we need to understand and be sensitive to the fact that SMB organizations have unique service needs that is complemented with the needs of their service providers, which are the managed service providers and IT service providers. And that's really the product that needs to be specifically tailored to that market in order to be successful and effective. So I hope I provided you some context in which how we think about the product, how we think about the areas of investment, areas of value, and how we're going to be delivering value to you as well as to your customers. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the changes or enhancements that we've made to the product from January of this year. So in the area of security and availability, we've made great strides in developing probably one of the most robust security policy profiles that we've seen in the marketplace. We're very proud of this functionality, and actually I'm going to expand on that a little more after this slide. We've also provided a very easy user interface for project and folder revert to previous state. That functionality existed in the product, but the user interface of it was probably not as effective as it could have been. Now, this functionality is particularly important with the proliferation of ransom virus or cryptoviruses, as many of it is called. I recently came back from customer visits from Europe, and I can tell you that this is a global phenomenon. It's not specific to any country. It is something that all customers have to deal with wherever you are, and if you have access to the internet, you're definitely susceptible to it. We are able to provide a very specific direction of what happens in a case of a folder is deleted or a folder is corrupted or encrypted, and Autotask Workplace definitely provides a very simple, straightforward, step-by-step instruction of how to get at that situation. On the Active Directory, it is something that definitely more and more organizations, as they reach maturity in terms of size, are adopting. And what we've done here is we've added another option, in addition to the option that we've already had, on how you can integrate and work with Active Directory. We've also added a SAML 2.0 for single sign-on, and I'll be talking about those capabilities as well. On the collaboration side, we've invested in our Apple iOS capability. So we've added to the Sooner Go and the ability to search documents that are on the server, not just on the local device. And we also have provided the ability to create as well as share documents right from the iOS device and add additional users if you wanted to add that capability, and again, to allow for that business continuity regardless of where you are. We also added the ability to partially sync projects to the device, realizing and understanding that obviously phones have different memory limitations and size limitations, and have added the ability to also implement the Touch ID support for authentication. At the same time, we also have been investing in the Sooner Go Android version, and happy to inform you that we recently provided a shipping version of the Android Go 1.0 application on the Google Play Store, and it includes folder sync, built-in Office editor, PDF annotation, and offline work. So we're going to be bringing that capability up very quickly to match the Sooner Go iOS version, and we're going to be keeping those in sync as well. And again, those are native applications and that run natively on those devices. We're also in the process of updating the Apple OS agent, primarily extending the file locking mechanism to the Apple operating system. And those capabilities are slated for basically April 2016 is really where we are looking to roll out the Apple OS agent update. On the area of built for MSP service providers, we've obviously rolled out the first version of Autotask Workplace Manager, and now we've added the ability to integrate Autotask tickets as well. So it's one thing to go ahead and provision and tie the initial provisioning to a customer contract, but obviously we all know that the largest overhead often tends to be when customers dial up or add additional seats or additional storage or have additional questions. How do you capture that overhead work over the administration? And what you will see here is that we've integrated Autotask PSA with Autotask Workplace, so all these requests automatically flow into your business management software, which is your PSA. We also have Autotask Work Manager that has access to configure and create teams, users, and security policy profiles right from the AWP Manager console itself. So as you're creating teams, we now also give you the ability, with no additional licensing needs, to go into any given team that you've provisioned, and you can create administrators, users, policy profiles, and again, giving you the ability to manage all that. The one thing that you will not have access to, and for right reasons, is the actual data itself. So you will not see the actual projects or that the administrator will be creating on the device, unless, again, you will be given explicit rights to that data. And again, it protects you, the managed service provider, from any kind of data implications should the organization you're working with experiences a breach. Last but not least, we've also added Excel and PDF exports of team usage data. So if you need to analyze that data, import the data to other tools, you have that option as well. So I want to give you some examples of what we mean by granular security profiles and how does it translate to? So if you look at the diagram here, you see 3 levels of permissions that an organization can have. A team would be the entire company, a group will be a department, and a user would be a specific user in the company itself. So in this situation, let's say that we've agreed that as a company, we will all have 2-factor authentication, but nobody will have access to send or reshare public links, and nobody will be allowed to edit documents on a mobile device. So that's at the group level. You can then override that by giving any one group the ability to add additional permissions that were not originally inherited. So for example, a group like marketing may need the ability to provide public links, or perhaps it's sales. So you have the ability to manage security permissions at a group level, exclude others, include additional ones, and those things are possible. And then if you want to go further down from that, you may want to say, you know what, I would not like for a specific user, it can be perhaps the CEO, to simplify his experience with the product, to say for him, I'm going to remove 2-factor authentication, I'm going to give him the ability to send public links, and I'm going to allow him to go ahead and provide mobile editing on his mobile device because he needs to approve contracts, he needs to look at some sensitive information, and I want to provide him with the biggest flexibility, if you will. And again, those things can be a discussion point with the customer. So once you understand the level of comfort they have in terms of security, you can implement the right level of comfort at the right level with the right user. So what you see here is really a very robust hierarchical security model that you can implement in a variety of ways. We always encourage the use of teams, because once you have teams, you can apply securities to teams, and any user that then becomes a member of a team, then obviously automatically inherits those capabilities or the security profiles. Another capability we talked about is the Active Directory. So Active Directory capability, there are really 2 models now that we support. The first one was the on-prem agent model, which was actually the most secure model for those not comfortable opening a specific port on your firewall. So if you wanted to previously, if you wanted to connect and work within an on-premise Active Directory server, we've asked you to run basically a middleware or an agent that was basically moderated or went through, it was acting like a proxy server between your Sooner Workplace, which is the cloud service, and then the service, and then that connected to the Active Directory. Obviously, the negatives of that were that it was another service that you had to manage, and obviously those services obviously individually have a possibility of going up or down. The benefit of that obviously was that if organizations were not comfortable opening a port on a firewall, that option was the option that was accepted. The new option, the LDAP Direct, actually connects, allows you to connect directly with the Sooner Cloud service into Active Directory, and therefore it uses a certificate technology to, once you certify and open the port, you no longer need that intermediate service. So now you have options of which ones are the most appropriate level of security that your customer requires, and you can implement the one you need. And again, it's a built-in service into the product. This is a view of our Workplace Manager, which is the portal that we extend and provide to managed service providers or our partners that become our partners. So this is really a console, and again, our focus here is on simplicity. On the top left side, you can see that you have teams, users, and devices. Those are basically the accounts that you're going to be managing. And on the right side, you can see the wheel, which is the configuration or any kind of help that you're going to need is provided over there. So our goal here obviously is to maximize simplicity to give you the level of ease of administration as you possibly need. So what we've done with the most recent release is simplified the menu structure. We've added a column chooser. It is this little grid that you see here, so you can see as many or as few columns as you need to. You can see a show sign up URL, so you can now have your own service that you can promote to your customers directly from your website, or you can send it to the customer itself. And you can obviously create trials or obviously administer regular teams. You can disable teams or delete them. All that can be done within the Management Console. Here is an example of a team that you may be working on, a ticket that may have been received inside Autotask requesting for additional seats. So you can just adjust the seats, and automatically, that obviously automatically will adjust the customer's invoice, and then both the technical side of implementing the change, as well as the business side of making sure that that seat is now accounted for in your billing process, is all integrated and consistent. So that wraps up the enhancements that we've made since 2016, and what I want to do is just talk to you briefly about the elevated engineer priorities for the remaining of the year. So there are really three areas that we're going to be investing moving forward. One is the branding. So obviously, throughout this discussion, I've used the word both Autotask Workplace and Sooner interchangeably, because many of you are familiar with the Sooner offering, and all our new partners are obviously familiar with the Autotask Workplace naming. We are going to be going through a major branding exercise, and I'm going to be rebranding the product throughout, in our reference, in URLs, in documentation. As you can imagine, it is not a simple undertaking, but at the same time, we'll never lose sight that our legacy customers and partners, we're very grateful for your business, and we will make sure that there's minimal disruption and continuous communication of what will be happening going forward. The second item and corollary to that one is we're going to be also going to be adding capabilities for co-branding the service, and we'll give you a little more detail on that in just the next slide. In the process of building a data leakage component for our Autotask Endpoint Management, and probably we'll also issue a document. So if you are using a different RMM, we will give you the recipe, so to speak, of how to build one yourself. And we're also working on enabling the agent installers to support silent install or account setup and configuration through policies. On the security aspect, we're also working on adding LDAP support for Azure. And on the collaboration side, as I said before, sync being the most critical aspect of an FSS is something that we see an opportunity to expand to the file server agent system with service level management. And I'll tell you exactly what we mean by that in just a second. So on the co-branding and migration plan, you should expect us to, in providing you more options on the co-branding side of the service, including your ability to add splash screens, as well as adjust notifications and email templates that go out from the service to your customers. On the data leakage component for RMMs, we are working on an automated component that will perform specialized software audit, looking for very specific registry entries, if you will, and other DNA markers for basically unsanctioned or consumer-grade FSS tools, as well as we'll evaluate other aspects of the organization. Those of you that may be operating overseas, you may want to discuss this option with your customer first, and with their permission about security audit, you may conduct this. And then ultimately, it should result in a conversation between you and your customer about the level of vulnerability that they would be comfortable undertaking or just bringing it to their attention. On the sound install side, we are working on the ability to deploy desktop agents using obviously our RMM, which is Autotask Endpoint Management, and we'll provide the ability to, or a recipe, if you will, if you would like to build it yourself in your respective RMM. We are also going to be providing down the road ability to configure the desktop agent with policy profiles. So this way, there's minimal investment on the deployments that you're going to be administering with your customers. So again, making sure that you have the level of control, but at the same time, the scalability that you need in order to roll out the service, administer and manage it in an effective and cost-effective manner. On the file server agent, it is an area that we definitely see an opportunity to do more. So today you can take the desktop agent and run it as a service, which many of you have done Again, in speaking with with customers, this is really what we found out. But there's some current challenges to that approach. Obviously, it still requires the user logging into the service. Notifications still go to the screen. File locking is not effective on the server deployment, and monitoring using RMM tools is not something that is enabled or possible. So those are the types of things that on a first pass we are looking to address. So the file server agent will be a dedicated optional component that organizations can add to their FSS toolset, and basically we'll go from there. So that's really where we're looking at this. There's a lot more opportunity around server management and working with servers. Ultimately, the way we see it is the opportunity to truly replace and act as the next generation VPN technology for organizations. So that wraps up my update to you. I hope you found it helpful. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on right now to Caroline, who's going to talk to you about the partner program.
Thank you, Moshe. Nice job. Some great updates on the Autotask Workplace product and what's coming down the path. Really exciting, and thank you for sharing that with us. Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Chapin, Channel Development Marketing Manager at Autotask for the Autotask Workplace Partner Program. I know many of you know Len DiCostanzo, our Senior Vice President of Autotask Workplace Channels. He's been in the industry for some time. I know he's spoken with many of you. I've been working closely with him these last few months to develop and launch our new partner program. I'm proud to say we officially launched it in February, so I'm excited to have a few minutes with you today to provide an overview of the program and highlight the key tools and resources available to help support your sales efforts. Let me first start by welcoming some folks to the call. I'd like to first welcome our legacy Sooner Success partners who came to us via the Sooner acquisition last July. I want to thank them for staying with us through this transition process as we develop our new program and bring additional partners on board. So welcome and thank you for joining. Also to our AWP partners who have joined us since acquisition, we want to thank you for your business and appreciate the time that you're putting in to get to learn AWP, and we look forward to helping you develop your pipeline and sales efforts around AWP going forward. And lastly, if you're not an existing partner and joining us for the first time, I'd like to welcome you and hope that you'll take some of this information back and consider joining the partner program going forward. So now let me tell you about this great opportunity we have for you. Moshe shared some great updates on the product and what's coming, certainly a premier FSS solution in the market. The Autotask Workplace product is offered exclusively through the Autotask Workplace Partner Program. We do not sell direct. We do not publish pricing. It's 100% channel focused. So let's dive into the benefits of the program. I think this will really help you kind of see what it's all about, what all the hype is about. We are 100% channel focused. We feel it's key to stay channel focused so that we can ensure that we're helping you generate revenue while helping to grow your AWP practice. Once you sign as a partner, you'll be given a dedicated account manager. They'll be your single point of contact for all the resources available to help support your selling efforts with AWP. Regardless of the size of your organization, you will get that dedicated resource so that you'll have that single point of contact. We've also introduced a new role, the Partner Development Manager. This is a new role we introduced with the program and acts as a sales overlay. They work alongside our account managers, and these are guys that came to us either from Autotask, meaning they've worked here for several years, or come to us from the industry as well-known and certainly know the industry well. They have an SE skill set with sales acumen, so they'll be available to help you get onboarded, help you joint sell into your top accounts, and really help you develop your pipeline. The team's doing a great job. We just introduced this role in late February, early March, so they've really hit the ground running, and I encourage you to leverage them as a resource if needed. We also offer a fixed cost model. I'm sorry, next is the training. My apologies. We have lots of live and on-demand training available. We want to make sure that you're technically capable, not only to use the product, but also to deploy and support your client base going forward. And of course, we want to help you build out your sales and business training skills as well. We've got the fixed cost model. One of the key things that we feel is really right for partners is to have a fixed cost for your licenses. This way it's not a moving target, it's not a discount. a lot of the other solutions out there, the consumer-grade solutions or the commercial solutions, they have published pricing. We don't do that. This will enable you to really budget your business accordingly and set that fixed price for you for your actual resale of licenses going forward. We also provide you with internal use licenses. These come standard with the program. We want to make sure that the people within your organization are using the product. So we believe that the more you use it, the easier it is to sell it. I can speak from experience. I've been here about 4 months, and the more that I use it, the easier it is to speak about it, the easier it is to sell the value and demo it to prospects. We're really big on enablement. Enablement is a big focus of this program. So one of the first things I worked on coming on board was the Partner Playbook, and we're going to dive into that in just a moment. The Partner Playbook is your single point of resource to access all the different sales and marketing tools available in the Partner Toolkit. When you buy into the program, you'll actually purchase a set of licenses that you'll have the ability to resell to your end clients. But it also comes with the AWP Manager. You heard Moshe speak to the different capabilities of the manager. This is what is commonly referred to as the partner portal. It's your single pane of glass to give you the ability to manage your clients and their team members and set those security policies. You can provision trials from the portal. It's really a great tool, and it comes standard with every starter pack. And then lastly, we certainly provide support. You know, our partners are required to provide that Tier 1 support to their end clients. You'll be that first phone call that they make, but we're here to provide support to you for the Tier 2 and Tier 3 levels if needed. We streamlined our support process back in early March, and I think you'll agree, or hopefully if you haven't had to call yet, if you do need to call, I think you'll agree that the process is much smoother, so it should make for a better experience. So let's look at the Partner Toolkit. This is just a quick snapshot to show you some of the different tools that are available. We've been hard at work. Again, enablement is such a big piece of this program. We want to make it easy for you to sell and get this content in your end client's hands. And we even have relationships with third-party providers who specialize in sales and marketing automation. So if you don't have a dedicated resource internally and you need some additional help with marketing or sales, we can make those introductions for you. We provide that information right in the playbook. So let's take a look at some of the campaign tools that are available. I'm really excited to show you some of these new logos and tools that we've put together. We want to make your co-branding experience as easy as possible. So when I show you some of the different collateral here in a moment, you'll see that you'll be able to co-brand it with one of these partner logos, or you can use the logos in really any different way that you want to share this information, whether it's on your website, in an email, social media. And then we've also created a couple of product logos that you can add to that co-branding experience. So we'll see those come up here for Autotask Workplace. We've given you 2 different types that you can work with, again, to add to the collateral, to make it your own. We want it to be a consistent look and feel out there in the market. And then I just want to show you a quick snapshot of an email template that we make available for you. This is just one example. We're in the process of building out these templates. We have 2 available right now. This is one that's really geared around the FSS Buyer's Guide. We're making these templates available to you via the toolkit and give you the ability to customize them as you wish. It's just meant to be a guideline and to make this process easy for you. And we'll be building out more templates here in the coming weeks. So let's look at the different collateral pieces that are available in the toolkit. These are just the highlights. We've got the Security Architecture Guide, so useful for those clients that are wanting to know about the overall architecture of AWP. We've got the FSS Buyer's Guide. This is a comprehensive buyer's guide for you to hand off to your clients and prospects. It definitely outlines the key benefits of an FSS solution and takes them down the path of what to look for and what questions to ask when they're considering implementing an FSS solution like Autotask Workplace. And then we have this vertical use case guide. I love this one because it's actually set up such that you can strip out one vertical and focus on one set of use cases and send it out to a subset of your clients, or you can send the whole guide to your whole client base. And then we also have a quick start guide. This is the perfect piece of collateral that you can send to your brand new Autotask Workplace end users. It's a step-by-step guide on how to get started. And then lastly, the Partner Playbook, which I'm most excited about. This really is the key to the whole program. It's the single resource you'll need to help guide you through the onboarding process and the enablement process to help you sell and support your AWP business. So this is just meant to show you really the intent of the playbook is we overlay that with our toolkit. So this is just to give you some simple plays to run. We don't want you to have to search and waste time trying to figure out how to sell the stuff on your own. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. So now just a quick snapshot of the partner playbook, the table of contents. I just want to show you how it's structured. So very simple, this was set up to really meant to be used as sort of a checklist to help guide you through the onboarding process. And you'll see the key sections are bolded, getting started, helping you configure your portal and log in and get ready and registered for technical training. And then we take you into the product training and business section where we give you everything you need to learn about the product, both from a technical standpoint, a sales standpoint. We teach you about the market and how you can generate project revenue by selling AWP and how you can generate managed services recurring revenue by selling AWP. We give you an example of a managed service bundle that you can wrap around AWP and add to your portfolio. So some great content here. We also include all the links to our live demonstrations and ongoing webinars that we offer. We certainly want you to start using AWP internally. This, again, is going to help you sell the product. We give you some different scenarios of how your sales teams can use AWP. I can speak from experience. When I'm working with a partner prospect or even an existing partner, I'm using AWP links in my emails to share information. You can be doing the same. We drink our own Kool-Aid here, so we encourage you to use it as well. And then the business development activities is really where you're starting to uncover the opportunity and generate those leads. And I'll take you through some examples of some key plays in just one moment. And then we finish up just by helping you think about client retention and the importance of the post-sales follow-up and having those monthly and quarterly business reviews. Those are things that I'm sure you're doing already. We're just adding some tips and some key questions you can be asking that are specific to AWP and how you might be able to uncover additional opportunity within your client base. We give you access to support, and then we also set expectations on back office setup just to help you know what to expect going forward. So lastly, let's just focus on some key plays. I really just want to finish up here and show you what it's all about. First is discovering the opportunity in your client base. So you as MSPs and ITSPs, you know your clients best, and you are their trusted advisor. So in most cases, you might already know who your top accounts are. So you want to call those accounts. If you don't know who they are, however, you can make use of your RMM tool. Or if you're an Autotask user and you're using AEM, you can use that as well. You run that audit function, figure out what your end clients are using for a consumer-grade solution or a competitive solution. We want to know what they're using, and that's going to help you tee up that first conversation. And if you don't know what they're using, we give you a whole variety of discovery questions by key function, so around security, around collaboration, and around access. We give it to you in the playbook. Next, it's about starting the conversation with clients and prospects. So this is where you'll really get to leverage the key assets that we've created for you. One is share the FSS Buyer's Guide. We've made it co-brandable for you. We've given you email templates, so whether you're using your own email solution or you're using one of those third parties like a Mind Matrix to run that campaign for you, we give you the tools that you need. You can also share that vertical market case study guide. Again, a perfect asset to share with your end clients and show your value that you know exactly what their vertical needs are and you can speak to it from an AWP perspective. I encourage you to drive clients and prospects to our live group demonstrations. We run them weekly. They're available on our website. We know you're busy. You may not have the bandwidth to do a product demonstration on your own, so please drive them to the live demonstrations that we put on every week. It will help save you time, help reduce time to that monthly recurring revenue, which ultimately is everyone's goal. You can also use our tools. We've made available an end-user PowerPoint presentation, a set of slides that you can use to customize. Again, you can co-brand it. And you can schedule a webinar for your end clients, or you can schedule to use them as an on-site presentation. Again, just trying to make it very simple for you. You can also take that same presentation and schedule a hosted event on-site. We do lunch and learns all the time, and they're very, very successful because it's a smaller group of people. They're there because they want to be there, and they're there because they want to learn. So also a good option for you, a good play to run to host an event. And then lastly, client retention. I touched on this already, but I'll just follow up with some additional details. So the post-sales follow-up, critical in client retention. You want to keep that stickiness. You want to improve the customer satisfaction of your client base. And the more you talk to them, the more you're speaking, the more you're on site, the better the relationship is going to be. And we've included some helpful questions that you can ask right within the playbook to talk about their usage around AWP. Maybe you'll identify a need for additional seats. Maybe you'll identify a gap in your service offering that you can then implement and charge additional revenue for. Again, more money in your pocket. So those monthly and quarterly business reviews are critical. So next, now that you've heard all the great things about Autotask Workplace and all the great things coming down the pike with this product, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the partner program. For those of you that have not signed on with us yet, I really want to encourage you to take that next step, join the program, and get your piece of the market by joining the program today.